Hi there, I'm Jessica Mensch with the City of Glendale, and today we're at the Downtown Campus Reinvestment Project open house, where members of the community are getting to take a look at the plans for City Hall. Now we have Diane Jacobs, who is one of the architects behind this project. Thanks for joining us, Diane.
It's good to be here. We love working with the City of Glendale, and we've made some great progress since the last time we met the community. So we're excited to be here tonight to share some of those ideas.
And then Cece over here is going to be monitoring your questions, your comments, so please let us know if you have any of those, and we'll try to get some answers for you. So as folks walk in here, you can see there are plenty of boards up with plans for this project. Can you walk us through what these are?
Sure. In the beginning, as you walk into the space, one of the things that you'll see is kind of our project Factboard. This project is somewhat complex. There are a lot of kind of different components to it, and what's important here is to help share kind of breakdowns of exactly what it is the DCRP project consists of, and also a little bit about our timeline, our schedule, and we're right smack in the middle of the project. We began in earnest several months ago, and now we're in the design phase, and so we're here to show some of our conceptual ideas and get some feedback.
And then I see you've got the project goals there. Tell us about those.
Well, essentially what we got when we were commissioned with this project is a series of city aspirations. And the city aspirations really began with the notion of the downtown campus coming back as the heart of the community, not just the green space, but actually the municipal buildings as well. Also, the amphitheater, which is beloved and hosts many, many interesting arts and culture events of different sizes, should become a true destination. That community services are more accessible and consolidated. That we sort of keep up with what's happening with municipal centers around the country and really around the world. And that this space is for everybody. It's not just a place with a small window to pay a bill, but it's a place to gather and meet and have connection with city leadership. But also a great place for work and a great place that sort of exudes the identity of Glendale, which is a little bit of history, a little bit of modernity, and a lot of community. And we've come to embrace the folks here, and we're hoping that the design sort of keeps up with the spirit that already exists in this town.
Well, that sounds great to us. So walk us through now here. We've got what you guys heard from the community, right?
Yes, because this is a very kind of community-focused town, one of the things that we've been able to do is talk to a large number of people, both formally at the last gathering in October, and informally, just sort of connecting with folks as we come through the city. And this describes some of the comments that we heard more and more over and over again. That the improvement for City Hall, the priorities should be natural light, accessibility, modernization, restrooms, benches and murals in the park, a water feature that works, maybe that's more sustainable with just a little bit of water, this idea of the opening day having a fresh new look, but mostly to sort of keep the story, the texture, and kind of the feeling of Glendale alive with this new building, or renovated building, I should say.
Great. And then as we come on down here, you can see even more plans, some guiding principles.
Well, again, we did mention that the project has a bit of complexity to it. And also, we're going to be working on this for quite a while. So it's important to just be intentional about these things that we've heard from others. And sort of we took a kind of a page from the ASU book, and instead of calling this something like the New American University, we were inspired to call this the New American City Hall, and created a series of kind of guiding principles that may help remind us why we're here when we're doing technical things like creating irrigation that works, designing the doorknobs, and maybe even presenting a place for people to meet their council person that's maybe a little bit more user-friendly than what they're used to. All of these things help keep us focused on our mission, basically.
Great. And then the bulk of the project over here, where you can see all these members of the public gathered around. Tell us what they're looking at.
Well, essentially what we've done is put together a very building-focused presentation, because we'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about Murphy Park. Essentially what we're looking for in the recreation of the buildings is a skin and a presence that is open, light, and airy, that is sustainable, but at the same time allows for fresh air to come through the building, that allows for views to come into the building and views to come out of the building. This image is a very diagrammatic image, but it shows before, which the building was kind of more traditional, more administrative in its kind of presence. And we're looking at a place where the lower level or the main ground level is open to the street and essentially part of the city fabric rather than a dark doorway that leads you to very specific places, more of a gathering hall in the entry piece. So we're showing the campus plan that begins to show about how these buildings will open up. The yellow is space that's dedicated to public engagement. The blue shows openings that go through the floor that allow continuity between departments. And the red lines show the idea that as the park is developing, that we connect with a long and sweeping walkway so that people feel that it's one campus rather than two separate pieces. And then as you move through the rest of the table, we begin to show the garden level, which we've discovered has quite a lot of natural light. Right now, walking through that lower level, you can't really see the benefits of that space, but if you look at this plan and you see the dashed blue lines around the perimeter of the lower plan, which is City Hall, by the way, the perimeter up above, that's the lower level of the council chambers, which is the space we're in now. The dashed blue line demonstrates how we're able to open up the edges either above with skylights or along the sides to create a very elegant executive suite at that lower level with an area that's accessible down below, rather than right now, which it's substantially dark and hard to get to. The lower level of the council chambers will become kind of a back-of-house space for performers that are directly adjacent to the amphitheater, which will be a new stage and a new place for performances, which we all know is very important to Glendale.
Oh yeah, I think that'll work great for Live at Murphy Park.
Yes. We've been able to witness some of those, and it's a lot of fun. Again, you see some before and after shots. This is the one up above is what you see from Glendale Avenue, kind of where that difficult intersection is right now, and you see an old cooling tower. We're proposing to update the mechanical systems, take away that cooling tower which blocks that entry, and create a new entrance plaza that will have a twin to it on the other side at the park. So when you arrive from the parking garage, you do not need to cross the street. You can go straight into the entry plaza, through the building, and come out onto kind of the base of Murphy Park. We're trying to create some great photo opportunities and moments of gathering, and this idea of a city hall that's more accessible to folks. Let's see, one of the things that you see here too are some post-it notes with feedback, and so what we're doing today is talking with folks to see if there's something that we might need to consider, if there's some great ideas or just some feedback on what they see here today.
And of course, if anyone watching at home has any questions, any feedback to provide, please leave that in the comments.
Yes. This is a very complicated project in that we're housing, so to speak, almost 250 people that work here every single day. But at the same time, we want to open it up and make this truly a public city hall. You can see Sergio Crosco from Holly Street telling the story about how the section works. The upper 3 floors are dedicated to folks that work at the city of Glendale. The main level is connected to the park. And then the lower levels, we were bringing light in there for additional office space so that the building is much more flexible, much more usable, and also efficient in very sustainable ways, which is of course, what all architects right now are focused on or should be focused on as we develop the plans.
And along those lines, I mean, what would be the major highlights that you guys would want to tell people that is being proposed in these changes?
I feel like I'm saying it a lot because it really means a lot to our team, but it's really important to understand that the City Hall is a place for people who live in the city, a place for people who visit the city, a place for people who work at the city. And it is really important that you participate in your city government, if not just for just general community, for enjoyment, for family gatherings, but also realize that these places are richer and better for your input and your arrival. And so we are kind of rolling the dice on the idea that these places will be of value to those that live in the city of Glendale, not just directly downtown, but in the greater city of Glendale, and that these places are going to be more active and more colorful and interesting, and really not just sustainable from an environmental point of view, but sustainable for generations to come.
Great. Well, thank you so much again for talking with us. It looks like this is going to be a big success for Glendale. And again, if you have any questions, any comments, please leave them in the comments on this video. And we're also going to link you to an email where you can get some of those questions answered with as well. So thank you all for watching.